Hello, class. Welcome to Mapping Lab 2. I hope you're ready for a fun lab and to stretch your legs a little bit outside. Hopefully it gets a little bit of sun and it doesn't snow you guys out because you'll be collecting some data from the field in this lab. And just as a quick warm up, we're going to take some screenshots of some kind of more review things at the beginning. I'll go over how I got to this point. I already have made a new project and I made it in the C drive. So when I go in here and I click blank template map, and I created the new project, make sure that your file path never starts with fs.kdem.et.byu.edu because that is not an internal storage. Always go from the C drive. C drive, users, and then pick your user. And then I have it right in there, lab 2. So that's really important. And then once you do that, the next step is to make sure that the projection of your map is set to NAD 1983 UTM zone 12N. And just in finding that, that's under projected coordinate system. And if you type in 12N here, it narrows the search for you. So projected coordinate system, UTM, NAD 1983, right there. So just make sure that it's set to 12N. Again, we'll get into more of why we do that, but you'll know that you did it right because when you zoom out and look at your map, it looks like a portion of a beach ball. Awesome. Okay. So next I added this layer on the background under base map imagery. That's how I did that. And then I created a new geodatabase. A geodatabase we covered a little bit in the last lab, but a geodatabase is essentially just a folder where you can keep your layers. So in order to make a new geodatabase, you just go here, new file geodatabase, and you name it, and then bam. I named mine my geodatabase.gdb. And then inside this new folder, you can click new feature class, and then you create your feature class. It's pretty simple as that. For BYU buildings, I typed here BYU buildings, and then a building is probably best as a point. So I switched it to a point, and then I went to next, and I added all of the fields that I wanted, which were building name, which is text, and then construction year, which is not text. Construction year is best as a long integer. So let's say the construction year of the LSB, I think, is 2018. So that will let you put in numbers, but notice how I can't put in any, I'm trying to type in letters and it won't let me. So make sure that that is not set to text, but it's set to long integer. The same idea with students per year. So we got building name, construction year, students per year, and those are the fields. And that's why I have these fields right here. The lab document has you do it a slightly more complicated way. I think it's easiest if you just put them in right as you're creating the feature class. So they're right there when you from the very beginning, they have these fields. Awesome. So typically you would click finish and it would create the feature class and it would create it inside this, because remember I clicked here new, and it would create that the point file inside that geodatabase, because geodatabase is essentially a folder for your feature classes. And then you make another feature class, but this one is going to be for the roads, and you can call it BOU roads. And this one can be polygon or a line, because if you think about it, a polygon can act just like a line. If you set the outline to be like black, then it has an outline that's black. And then you set the inside to be transparent. And then it's just like a line. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so I have it set up as a polygon. So now in my geodatabase, I have BOU buildings and BOU roads. And the next step would be to go to edit and then create, and then select which one you want to add to. I did BOU buildings first, and then I dropped points on the following buildings: on the ASB, the HVAC, the WILC, the library, the JFSB, the RB, the JSB, the MARB, the engineering building, and the life science building. And that's in your lab, which ones to do. And then on top of that, I also named them. So I went in and I said, what's that? That's the ASB. What's this? That's the HVAC. What's this? That's the WILC, and so forth. So that's what I've done so far. The reason why it's already done is because I lost connection to internet and my recording stopped. And so I already had that completed. Next is construction year, and I'm going to look these up and fill this out for you guys. So I'm just going to pause this real quick and look those up. Okay, so go ahead and copy all this information in. I just looked it up for y'all. It's whatever. I'm a nice TA. You can't say I never did anything for you. Just kidding. Those are all like manipulation tactics. So construction year, the students per year thing doesn't matter a whole ton. So I just kind of put in some pretty random numbers. Like I looked up how many are in the School of Music, and that's about 4,000, and there are about 4,000 engineering students. So I don't know. It doesn't matter very much. And then like 33,000 students are gonna go through the WILC. Anyway, so go ahead and just copy these numbers in. It'll work if you set it to long integer. And then we are going to use this little button called calculate. And what we're going to do is calculate the number of students total that have gone through one of these buildings, assuming that, I mean, this will not be an accurate number whatsoever, but we're going to learn how to use this calculate field tool. So in calculate field, in here, we're gonna, let's just make this a little bigger. We've got this little equals. So what this is gonna do is create a new field, kind of like in Excel, that has a formula. So it says existing or new, so you can put in total students, and this will make a new field. And then you have all of our fields, and we're going to double click on the ones we want. So we're going to do students per year. Oop, don't know why that happened. Students per year. And we're going to multiply that by the number of years that have passed. So it is 2021. So 2021 minus construction year. So if you think about that, that makes a lot of sense. So let's see, let's do like a test just to make sure that we're not tripping. So it's 2021 minus 1961. So that's 60 years of the ASB times 300. So it should say 18,000. And we'll click OK. Ooh. Ooh. Come on. That was scary. Okay. Click OK. And oh, I think what happened, I need to click this save button first. And then let's try that. Yeah, that did it. Oh, I see what happened. So one of them was selected, and that's bad. So you want to make sure that none of them are selected, and do that same thing again. Or I think what we can do is just calculate here. Here, I'm going to start over. So we'll make this save. If some of the buttons don't work for you, then it's often because you have to save either here, or there are a bunch of save buttons, or save a whole project, which I'll do now. Okay. Yeah, that's a bummer. So make sure that's not highlighted in this blue. So I'm going to go to select and just deselect anything. Okay. And then I'm just going to go like this. And then this entire field needs to be, so total students needs to be students per year times by the difference. So 2021 minus construction year. Okay, and that should do it. Yeah, okay. I think that did it. Oh, we lost the ASB. Doesn't matter. Okay, so now we've calculated that and we've got total students. And we're gonna leave it at that for now. Awesome. So now let's look at BYU roads. We're gonna go to edit, create, but this time we're gonna add something in BYU roads. And we're gonna digitize the road that goes around BYU campus that kind of starts here. And it kind of goes like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's whatever. But we're essentially just digitizing this road. And it kind of, let's see, I need, oh yeah. So we go like this and something like that. And then we can even go all the way down here. Okay, good enough. So now we've got a polygon. We kind of need a line though, because I mean, it is, let's save this. We need a line though, because this one, you can't see anything underneath it. So we're gonna click here inside this little thing and we're gonna set it to black outline, and then bam, we've got our black outline. So next we're gonna do select by location. And this one's fun. Your input features are BYU roads and BYU buildings. Relationship is gonna be within. And then the one that we're selecting is the BYU building. So what this is going to do is select all the BYU buildings that are within the BYU roads shapefile. So well, pending edits, always make sure that maybe that'll work now. Nope. Always got some troubleshooting. Sometimes you gotta mix these two up. Relationship invalid first language. I'm gonna figure this out real quick. Okay, so not sure exactly why, but it's working now. And I said buildings, roads, but the selecting features you're gonna set to be the thing that is not selecting. So this time I did selecting features is BYU roads. Not sure why. I think it would make more sense if that said BYU buildings. But anyways, so now you should see selected everything that's inside this other polygon, and not selected are the LSB and the RB. So that's kind of cool. And that becomes a really helpful tool later. I changed this to completely within. I think within would work just the same. Let's try that. Nope, it's got to be completely within. It worked before. Okay, let me look at this again. Okay, so I tried a myriad of things. Nothing's working. So yeah, ignore this select by location thing. I'm not sure what's going on. It worked like once, but anyway, it used to work. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so now let's look at the screenshots that you'll have to do. So screenshot of the catalog pane with your newly created geodatabase. So that's going to be in here, catalog pane. That's just going to be a screenshot of this right here. Screenshot with attribute table, field calculator window, and contents of and equations. So that's going to be fields. So that's going to be in here, like that's going to be, let's see, I'm trying to find it kind of retroactively. I'll find that real quick. Okay, yeah. So that's going to be calculate. That's going to be this little thing right here with the little students per year times 2021 minus construction year. It's going to be this exact thing right here. Awesome. Good enough. Yeah. So it's going to be this table with that little like calculate field window with the equation, and then screenshot with all the buildings highlighted by select by location. Yeah, I couldn't get it to work, so I don't expect you guys to get it to work. So that one will have to it'll have to be a freebie. And then screenshot of just the map with the buildings and boundaries visible. That's going to be this right here. Simple as that. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the lab itself, kind of like the other part of the lab. And we don't need any of this stuff. So we'll just get that. What you're going to do is in the lab document are listed it's on this part that's like blue. It says making the map. There are listed several points to go to, and you go to 10 of the 15 of the ones listed here. So there's like the statue of Joseph in the JSB Grove and the Tree of Life statue. And so in a group, it can be with anyone in the class, just so that it is more fun that way. Get into a group and come together and go ahead and do this GPS thing. And you essentially will collect the data points in from a GPS like app, and you collect that longitude and latitude, and then from that you convert it to 12N so that it fits this projection, so that it'll show up, and then you put it right into the map after you, like, if you're organized in a CSV. It goes over this really well, step by step of what you do. You take the latitude and longitude and average it between all the team members, and you put it in an Excel document and have it location name X, Y, and then you list all your points out, and it has the format in the lab. Export it as a CSV. Yeah, make sure that you convert the longitude and latitude to 12N, and there should be yeah, there's a little website that will do that for you, or you can Google it. And then add all of the points using this XY point data. go through there, find your table in here, the CSV that you just made, and add it in there. And then you'll see the points that you just made. You'll see the points that you had on that you just gathered from your GPS app. Then create a map. So let me find something just like random points to put in here real quick. Here, I'll just use this BYU building. And so just pretend like these points are the ones that you gathered in the field from your GPS app. And so you're gonna do that. And then to make your map, you're gonna do what's called an inset map. So when you're creating a layout, you're gonna actually add 2 frames. You can add 1 frame that has the points zoomed in, and you can add another one. But this one is gonna show you where your points are in the grand scheme of things. So you're gonna zoom out like this. Oh, no. So you zoomed out in the grand scheme of things, so you can kind of see where you're talking about. And this isn't like pretty or anything, but yeah. So that looks pretty good. Close activation. And then you make your map however you want. But now we're going to add something called an extent indicator. And that's essentially what it will show is this square, this rectangle here, to the scale of this map. So it'll show like the borders of the window. So that's going to be under insert extent indicator. And there it is. It's really small. So let's actually zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So notice if I were to move this or zoom out, notice my extent indicator gets bigger. I'm gonna just zoom to layer, and that's perfect. Awesome. And then from here, you make the map. Some specific things that it wants you to do. It wants you to change the symbology here. Instead of being black, let's change it to yellow so it's easier to see. Hello? Oh, that was the wrong one. My bad. Extent of map frame should be this one. Symbol, this should be yellow. And let's also make it a little thicker. Oh, but just 2 points. Oh, dear. Okay. And it's kind of hard to see, so we'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. That looks good. And then from here, you add all of your other cartographic elements. So you add, your neat line and your, yeah, just real quick, you add your north arrow and your scale bar. And you want to make sure that your scale bar, you have 2 different scale bars for the 2 different scales. You only need 1 north arrow though. You want your legend. And you want a title and the spatial reference and so forth. Notice how this says BYU buildings, and that's like kind of ugly. What you can do is click on this once and it should let you change the name. And this will be your geocaching points. Geocaching points. So you can name it that if you want. And then that looks a little bit better. I think that's all for that. And then also while you're out there, you're going to do part 3, which is reverse geocaching. So it'll have you, it'll give you points and you'll have to find them. And then tell us what they are. You don't have to put those into the map or anything like that. So yeah, something important here is to write a little measurement of, so it says, it gives you the coordinates and that says this should be a statue. And so you should go to those exact coordinates and it'll be a little bit off from the statue that it's supposed to be. And so essentially, this, you say like, it's there's not much of a science to it. You just say, well, this looks like I'm about 10 feet off or about 5 feet off. And that's all we need to know. So yeah, the goal of this section is to use GPS coordinates to find the place on campus. So you go to the locations and you take a picture with your group, and this should just be kind of fun. And that proves to us that you went to the right place. And then you will write a little conclusion where you give your estimated error for each of the points and discuss why there might be error. So now going over all the deliverables, there are those 3 screenshots, not including select by location. And then you have your conclusions. So you describe what you learned, you report the error, and you explain why the error might happen. Pictures of your crew at the geocaching locations. So this is just 5 points, but it can be really fun. Take a selfie at all of both the reverse geocaching and the geocaching. So both the points that we give you the coordinates for, and you tell us what it is, and we tell you what it is, and you get the coordinates for it. And then a map showing the locations of the GPS points. Not necessarily, you don't have to do the geocaching, the reverse surveying or whatever it calls it, the geocaching. I also think it doesn't matter too much if you take pictures at the GPS points, but what matters is that you take pictures at the geocaching points where we give you the coordinates, and that's important so that we can see that you went to the right place. Yeah, your full page map should have a map title, a neat line, north arrow, scale bar, text box with the author's names, date, map projection. Points need to be marked with a clear icon, so like this, as opposed to what it was before. Background map, the imagery map, the satellite image should be there. Zoom to an appropriate scale, and all text is legible. So you basically, it just needs to be pretty. So like this north arrow is terrible. It should probably be white so that you can see it. And that's pretty much it. So hope you guys have a fun time in lab, and yeah, see you later.